Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Mr. Adi, as a chairman. The Honorable Mr. David Thomas, as a master trainer. The Honorable Mr. Kev Tang, Ms. Lia, and Ms. Ani. The Honorable, the Supervisor of Mojokerto Kompetensi, the respectable Ms. Masura, as the Chief of MGMP English of Mojokerto Raya, the respectable the Headmaster of Vocational School 1 Cities. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let's say thanks to our God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has been giving us some guidance, happiness, mercies, blessing, also healthy. So we can gather and attend, also participate in this seminar without any obstacles. Praise and salutation always be given to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the last messenger, the best figure of this universe, the people who is able to save us from Jahiliyah era to whatever era. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Miss Inga. It is wonderful and precious change for me to be the master of ceremony in this beautiful morning on Wednesday, 11 September 2024, in our great event, ACT EFEX, Fostering Global Competence through English Proficiency. On this special event, we have several agendas. Please allow me to read the several sequences of our agendas. The first is opening. The second agenda is singing Indonesia Raya. Then, next is speech from the Chief of English MGMP of Mojokerto Raya. And then the fourth is speech from Supervisor of Cabang Dinas Mojokerto. Next, the speech from the Headmaster, and then it will be continued by the closing and prayer, and the last agenda is seminar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's open our program this morning by recite Basmalah together.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Thank you. The next agenda is singing Indonesia Raya for Miss Yunita. Time is yours. All participants, please stand up.
Tanah tumpah darahmu, di sanalah aku berdiri, jadi pandu hidupmu. Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita berseru, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah
for Ms. Masuro as the Chief of English and MGMP of Mojokerto Raya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang terhormat Bapak Pengawas Cabang Dinas Kabupaten Kota Mojokerto, Bapak Kepala SMKN Inggris Pak Radi, dan juga Mr. David and Team from ACT EFEX, dan juga teman-teman Bapak Ibu Guru anggota MGMP Bahasa Inggris Kabupaten Mojokerto. Saat ini adalah saat yang sangat berbahagia karena sekian abad kita masih belum bisa bertemu, dan sekarang dengan adanya acara dari ACT EFEX ini, kemarin saya dapat masukan dari Pak Ladi, akhirnya kita bisa menyelenggarakan acara ini, dan ini termasuk menjadi satu trigger bagi kita untuk kembali lagi aktif di komunitas kita. Terima kasih Pak Ladi. Dan ini adalah yang sangat berbahagia dari Bapak Ibu MGMP Bahasa Inggris. Mungkin dari Bapak Ibu di sini banyak yang sudah berpindah tempat tugas, tapi dari wajah-wajahnya ini masih wajah-wajah lama. Tapi hanya pindah tempat saja. Dan saya ucapkan selamat untuk Bapak Ibu dari swasta yang sudah berpindah tempat dan sekarang sudah mengemban tugas sebagai P3K di tempat yang baru. Oke Bapak Ibu, untuk kegiatan MGMP kita ini memang lama sekali vakum dan sekarang baru ada kembali karena ini juga banyak hal ya. Jadi memang untuk saat ini akhir-akhir ini banyak sekali kegiatan yang secara umum, misalnya guru penggerak atau SMK PK ataupun yang lainnya, itu sering kita dapatkan. Sedangkan yang kurang adalah yang khusus pada konten kita, yaitu ke bahasa Inggrisannya. Keinggrisannya itu kurang. Dan ini menjadi satu hal bagi kita untuk berupaya untuk lebih belajar lagi. Dari sini kemarin saya ada undangan dari MGMP Provinsi, dan juga saya berharap Bapak Ibu juga sudah masuk di anggota MGMP Provinsi. Ini sebenarnya adalah waktunya untuk pembahasan apa yang sudah saya dapat. Ini nanti akan kami agendakan kembali untuk pertemuan MGMP, mungkin biar Bapak Ibu semuanya bisa hadir dan ikut dalam keanggotaan lebih aktif lagi. Mungkin nanti akan kami agendakan secara daring untuk pembahasan dari MGMP Provinsi, dan juga tentang aplikasi modul yang sudah kita dapat. Nanti pada saat daring akan saya sampaikan tentang apa yang sudah saya dapat, terutama tentang AI di dalam pembelajaran, dan juga tentang aplikasi modul bahasa Inggris. Nanti akan kami undang kreatornya sekalian, jadi untuk memberikan lebih jelas lagi bagaimana mungkin Bapak Ibu ada kendala-kendala di dalam pemakaian modul. Terus Bapak Ibu, pesan saya terutama di sini masih banyak guru-guru yang muda, saya dan Bu Yasri mungkin yang di sini sudah tua, masih muda ya, masih muda. Jadi hendaknya kita untuk terus belajar dimanapun kita berada, karena yang namanya guru itu adalah tidak berhenti untuk belajar. Kalau guru itu sudah berhenti untuk belajar, berarti sudah tidak mau menjadi guru lagi. Termasuk diri saya ini juga masih belajar. Teman-teman juga demikian. Mungkin itu yang bisa saya sampaikan. Mohon maaf jika ada kata yang kurang berkenan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. For the fourth agenda is speech from Supervisor of Cabang Dinas Mojokerto. Time is yours.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's thank God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, that we can be here together without any hindrance, and I think it is because of His blessing, so that we can be here together. And the second plus greeting, salute and salutation should be sent to our great Prophet Muhammad. Honorable the headmaster of the chief of English Teachers Association for Vocational High School, and the crew of EFEX, the topic Asia, and the others. All the English teachers of vocational school, Regency Mojokerto. In this moment, I will say a little about what it is. 5 hypotheses of Stephen theory. Do you ever heard that theory? Do you ever heard that hypothesis? Never.
Never.
Oh. So it is something new for you. If something is new, it is very valuable. I hope. There are 5 hypotheses of Stephen theory. Number 1 is acquisition and learning theory. Do you know the difference between learning and acquisition? Any of you know the difference between acquisition and learning? Learning is formal. You try to get knowledge, you try to get skills or competence formally, consciously, intentionally. While acquisition, you acquire the knowledge in some conscious way, without intention that you get the knowledge. For example, Mr. Wadi has the competence of leadership because he is the principal or headmaster of the school. If Mr. Wadi try to read books about leadership, this is learning. If Mr. Wadi try to come to conference, have a seminar and others, they get input intentionally, consciously. This is learning. While acquisition, you can get the knowledge by doing the function. This is what you get competence or skills of leadership because of flight hour. Indonesia jam terbang. Flight hour. How many years we got headmaster or principal? The more hours you have, the more competence you are. That is acquisition. And acquisition is better than learning. That's why later when you try to teach English to your students, you can choose which one is better, acquisition or learning. If you want to get acquisition to your students, you have to give as much exposure as possible to your students, whether it is listening or reading in a subjective way. If you are now begin to be able to speak in front of audience, it is not from your learning, actually, it is from your acquisition. So that's why, although you are now a teacher, I suggest that you always train yourself, make listening English speech as your habit. Maybe you will ask, how? I don't have time. For example, because I always teach and teach. Some people say that if you want to train yourself to listen, you don't have to allocate time, certain time, maybe at home or anywhere. But if you have journey from your house to your office maybe, and it takes 30 minutes during the way, on the way, at the same time, you listen English with your headset or anything. But if you have a car, you can use your recorder or any devices in order that you can listen English. Then English becomes your habit. Your ear becomes wider. The whole of your ear becomes wider. It doesn't mean that you have big ear, but now you can listen or you hear English very, very clearly.
So Mickey Mouse can speak English.
Yeah, that's acquisition. And then the next is
Monitor.
Monitor repetition. I don't want to talk about it because your grammar is monitoring you while you are speaking. You try to monitor your grammar and then you have double thinking what to say and how to say it. Then if you stuck to how to say it, you cannot say anything. So you have to focus in one. That is what to say. Don't think about how to say it. Monitor. I don't like it. Although I am the master of grammar.
Also.
Maybe people say that I am a grammar when I teach at the college. But actually I don't like it. So if I teach my students, I almost never teach grammar. If not forced. In forced situation, they want to know about it sometimes. What is the difference between do and does? Sometimes they do that. For me, it is no problem. You say do, you say yes, you say I am go. It is no problem for me. So if you want to teach communication, it is how you tolerate the mistakes of your students. If you can stick to the correctness, then your students not concentrate on what they want to speak, but they only focus on how to say it. And then they are afraid to make mistakes, and the result, they are speechless. Speechless. Not the whole new word, but the other is speechless. The other shocked. Speechless. Now that is the problem. So, and the next is natural order. It is also actually the level of difficulty of the grammar also. Usually it will the sequence will order naturally. So we don't talk much about the order. And then number 4, it is very important. Number 4, it is input hypothesis. If you give reading to your students, if you speak to your students, if you play tape recorder, you play anything for listening exercise, it means that you give input to your students. The input can be listening or reading. And what is the best input for your student? Maybe anyone have opinion? Anyone have opinion? What is the best input for your student? if you want to give material, reading material to the students, what kind of reading material is it? If you want to give listening, what kind of listening is it? What is the answer? Anyone has the answer? The answer is understandable. Understandable. So you must know the readability of the text. If you want to know the level of readability of the text, you can try to test it online. The readability of text, of English text. There are many levels of readability. From the easy one, medium one, intermediate one, and the advanced one, or very difficult one. And which one is good for your student? Which one is good for your student? It is the one that your students understand. Understandable. According to Stephen Fashion, comprehensible input. Comprehensible input. The input must be understood by your students. What happens if the material is too difficult for your student? They will get despair. They will think that they are not good students. They think that they are stupid. So, I don't know English is very difficult. I don't have any passion, I don't have any ability to study English. Then English becomes horrible because horrible for our students. Then they will get when they hear about English subject. This is the type of English subject. Oh no, I get panic. I get what is it? Trauma, because this the teacher is very cruel. The teacher is not nice. Never smile. Always quote me. Yeah, that is the problem. And I think that is what happened in our classrooms. Input hypothesis. And then number 5. Oh yeah, what is the formula of input? The formula of input is I plus 1. I plus 1. I is the input plus 1 level. Apa? So, if you want to teach your students in the right way, in the right order, you have. If you enter the classroom for the first semester, do you directly teach your students? Yes or no? If no, what do you do? Because you teach. You give. You give
to explain maybe the topic or the material that we
or topic, yeah. Any other answer? Any other opinion? Any other answer? Yeah.
Introduction and learning apa itu perjanjian kontrak pembicaraan.
The other. Belum ada yang memuaskan saya.
Give jangan tes. Give jangan tes. Tes. Ya.
You have to test them. Test not always formal, but maybe you have interview or conversation with the student. What's your name? I'm Sandy. When were you born? I was one more than bahasa tulis ya. It means that you have to give number to your student. You have to review number to your student. Oh, my students cannot say number. Mengatakan tanggal lahirnya nggak bisa. Catat aja. This is the focus of your teaching. So don't tell everybody this, but you have to know the level of your students. If you know the level of your students, it means that is the input. That is the level, and then give one plus one. The plus one is the challenge for the student. Not only just the same, but plus one. That is the good input. Then number 5 is affective filter. Affective filter, it is the psychological impact. You have to give istilahnya sekarang kan aman, nyaman, menyenangkan. Do you agree?
Yes.
What should be? Say fun. Aman, nyaman, menyenangkan. Comfortable aja.
Comfortable.
Enjoyable. It means that you have to make your students happy. You don't give threat, kasih ancaman. Threat, tak kasih jelek-jelek. Bebas dari free from getting bad score. If it is necessary without scoring, you have to control the progress. It doesn't mean that you give score. It is not necessary. Sometimes you still have the ranking students. It's not good. It means that you compare one student with the other. You still remember the song is not dibanding-bandingin. Tak oyak mesti aku kalah. Akhirnya apa? Menyerah. That is the problem. Every students have their own ability, their own style of learning. Why do you compare one and the other? It is possible that in one class there are so many different abilities, and you have two. Mr. Tiku, maybe you have question? How are you doing?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. For the last speech is a representative of headmaster from vocational school Bangladesh for Mr. Ladi. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sebelumnya mohon izin yang saya hormati, kemudian Pak Sumaji, pengawas SMK di Cabang Dinas Pendidikan Wilayah Mojokerto Raya, yang saya hormati Bu Nasrullah selaku Ketua MGMP Bahasa Inggris, kemudian Bapak Ibu semuanya saja anggota MGMP Bahasa Inggris Kabupaten SMK Kabupaten Mojokerto. Alhamdulillah, puji syukur marilah senantiasa kita panjatkan kepada Allah SWT karena berkat limpahan rahmat, hidayah, inayah dan juga ridhonya kita bersama-sama pada hari ini bisa melaksanakan kegiatan atau aktivitas sesuai dengan yang kita rencanakan. Salam dan salam mudah-mudahan selalu tercurahkan pada junjungan kita Rasulullah Muhammad SAW. Ucapan terima kasih dan penghargaan kami sampaikan kepada Bapak Ibu sekalian, khususnya dari ICT yang sudah berkenan meluangkan waktu untuk berbagi ilmu kepada kita semua. Jadi gini Bapak Ibu, biar tidak penasaran, saya ingin cerita sedikit. Beberapa waktu yang lalu ketika saya diundang oleh Asyarif, nggak tahu ini ada Bapak Ibu yang ikut juga bangga, ke SMK Mitra Industri Bekasi, kemudian melihat di sana saya kagum sekali ketika apel pagi ternyata anak-anak itu membacakan visi misi sekolah itu tidak dibacakan tapi dihafal itu dalam 6 bahasa. 6 bahasa itu yang pertama bahasa Indonesia, kemudian bahasa Inggris, kemudian bahasa Jepang, bahasa Mandarin, bahasa Jerman, bahasa Korea. Kenapa begitu? Karena memang mereka sebagian sudah bercita-cita nanti untuk kerjanya di negara-negara ini. Nah, sehingga saya kemudian saya sampaikan pada teman-teman di SMK Detis, bisa nggak misi-misi kita ini dirubah? Jangan panjang-panjang gitu ya. Jangan terlalu panjang. Nanti biar anak-anak itu bisa menghafal, kemudian kalau sudah tertanam pada dirinya itu nanti bisa. Dan nanti kalau bisa ini ya, walaupun tidak 6 bahasa seperti di mitra industri, paling tidak itu ya bahasa Indonesia, bahasa Inggris, bahasa Jepang atau Jerman gitu. Nah, kemudian Bapak Ibu sekalian, di kesempatan itu juga kami diundang untuk mampir ke rumah dinasnya Bu Mr.Paulsaif, Bu Menteri Tenaga Kerja. Kemudian beliau menjelaskan bahwa kebutuhan tenaga kerja ke Jepang ini sangat banyak sekali. Ya, ada berapa? 800.000 atau berapa yang dibutuhkan. Dan pemerintah Jepang itu senang dengan tenaga kerja dari Indonesia. Karena apa? Ya, pertama mereka jujur, ya, jujur. Ada cerita katanya tadinya orang Thailand, orang Filipina yang banyak di sana. Itu mereka ada yang tidak jujur. Karena apa? Kalau mereka sudah kontrak kerja di sana, kemudian kalau wanita ini hamil nih, ini masih menjadi tanggungan dari pemberi kerja. Jadi hamil, cuti, dapat gajian. Lah ada yang pura-pura hamil, pulang kampung, balik lagi kayak melahirkan, setelah melahirkan gitu ya. Ada yang ini kemudian tidak jujur, salah satu contohnya seperti itu, sehingga mereka lebih senang pada tenaga kerja Indonesia. Alhamdulillah. Kemudian beliaunya juga habis safari dari Eropa, khususnya di Eropa Timur. Ternyata di sana banyak hotel, banyak restoran, banyak kantor-kantor yang tutup. Bukan karena tidak laku, tetapi karena mereka tidak punya tenaga kerja. Ya, ceritanya orang sana itu senang punya pasangan dan sebagainya, tapi nggak senang punya anak. Ya, jadi kalau punya anak ya nggak mau banyak-banyak. Beda dengan orang Indonesia. Ya, saya punya guru itu anaknya 8. Hari gini anaknya 8 itu luar biasa loh ya guru. Tapi jadi dokter berapa itu? Putranya jadi dokter, ada dokter gigi, ada dokter umum gitu ya, luar biasa. Ada yang sempat ke Al-Azhar ya, karena mondok kemudian kirim ke Al-Azhar, wah luar biasa. Nah di Eropa Timur, khususnya di Eropa lah, di Eropa Timur saja, ini banyak membutuhkan tenaga kerja. Kemudian pada saat saya mengundang Bu Catur dari Efrata, ini yang beliau mengenalkan saya dengan Pak Adi, beliaunya Pak Adi. Ini karena dulu memang kami sudah bermitra SMK PGRI ini dulu untuk unit-unit usaha dulu itu adalah difasilitasi oleh Bu Catur dari Efrata. Nah kemudian mengenalkan saya ke Pak Adi, termasuk menceritakan ini cerita dari Bu Catur apa Bu Mr.Paulsaif saya lupa. Jadi banyak kendala tentang tenaga kerja Indonesia di luar negeri. Kendalanya karena terkait dengan bahasa. orang Indonesia kerjanya baik, tapi karena nggak ngerti bahasa, begitu diperintahkan majikannya bingung mau tanya, nggak tahu tanya gimana caranya. Kalau dia ngomong bahasa Indonesia, majikannya nggak paham. Nah, sekali diperintah nggak jalan, 2 kali diperintah nggak jalan. Akhirnya kan majikan kan marah ya, emosi marah. Itu yang sering terjadi antara tenaga kerja Indonesia dengan majikan yang ada di luar negeri. Maka dari itu kemudian komunikasi ini menjadi salah satu kompetensi dasar yang harus dikuasai oleh tenaga kerja Indonesia. Apalagi Bu Menteri Tenaga Kerja sudah menyatakan waktu itu minggu depan saya akan kayak ke Hungaria, ke Ceko dan sebagainya untuk MOU. Dan tanya diundang oleh pemerintah sana untuk MOU terkait dengan penyediaan tenaga kerja dari Indonesia. Oleh sebab itu, kalau saya pahami dari masukan dari beberapa perusahaan yang sudah rekrutmen di tempat saya, yang pertama kompetensi dasar anak-anak itu masih rendah. Kompetensi dasar itu yang pertama adalah matematika dasar. Matematika dasar itu ya sebetulnya hanya penjumlahan, pengurangan, pembagian, perkalian. Tapi anak-anak nggak paham. Jadi contoh penjumlahan pecahan itu nggak paham. Ya. 1,2/8 ditambah dengan 3. Coba ada yang jawab itu yo pembilangnya ditambah pembilang, kemudian angka uturnya itu yang harus ditambahkan, kemudian penyebutnya tetap ditambah 0. Nah itu yang terjadi seperti itu. Ya mungkin nggak tahu apa karena pengaruh pandemi dan sebagainya. Itu matematika dasar. Kemudian yang kedua adalah dasar pengukuran. Nah, kalau di non teknik nggak paham, saya sendiri nggak paham. Dasar pengukuran itu menggunakan alat-alat ukur, kemudian keterampilan dasar kayak ngekir, gerinda dan sebagainya. Kalau di teknik seperti itu, termasuk dengan kemampuan dasar, keterampilan dasar. Kemudian berikutnya adalah komunikasi. Ini yang dibutuhkan oleh perusahaan. Ya, saya beberapa kali terima, Pak, saya tidak butuh anak yang pintar. Yang penting anaknya disiplin, mau berkembang, kemudian jujur. Artinya karakter harus sama. Jadi ini Bapak Ibu sekalian, kemudian ketika Bu Catur mengenalkan saya dengan Pak Adi, ternyata punya program bagaimana supaya bisa meningkatkan kemampuan bahasa Inggris baik bagi gurunya maupun bagi siswanya. Maka ini hal yang sangat bermanfaat bagi kami, ya. Walaupun nanti kedepannya harus ada biaya ya. Tapi kami beliaunya ini sudah pernah presentasi di depan kepala sekolah SMA, SMK. Namun waktu itu terbatas, hanya negeri sama hanya ketua MKKS, SMK swasta, SMA, SMK swasta. Nah, jadi beliau menyatakan bahwa ada apa istilahnya, bagaimana cara meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris anak-anak itu, terutama anak SMK, karena memang berharap bahwa anak SMK ini nanti bisa kerja ke luar negeri. Dan itu sudah ada. Kami dari SMK KAB.MOJOKERTO kan sudah dapat kuota 10 anak untuk dilatih. Ya, sekali bukan minggu lah. Hari apa itu? Hari Senin saya nyambangi anak-anak yang dilatih di LPK-nya Asyarif. Itu luar biasa. Mereka sudah visi-misi pakai bahasa Jepang dan sikapnya bahasa Jepang. Ya. Hormat kalau biasanya gini aja itu budaya saya kan. Nek dilatih di sekolah pirang tahun kan. Dilatih di LPK hanya pada yang latih masih muda kayak temannya, tapi luar biasa. Bahkan menulis ini huruf kanji apa baca itu sudah bisa, ya, di tes itu sudah bisa. Nah, diajari bahasa Inggris mulai kelas SD sampai ya. Saya sempat masuk ke kelas itu, di kelas BKP 3. Ya, saya ingin memotivasi anak-anak. Saya tulis itu di depan. You can be whatever you want. Siapa yang bisa baca ini? Anak sih paling ngaco. Hanya ada anak satu. Oh, Bu semua itu DKP siren. Ada Wahyu iso moco. Siapa yang? Diam. Lainnya, siapa yang tahu artinya? Gak ada sama sekali satu kelas. Hanya siren tadi yang ngerti. Oh, berarti saya tanya, kamu diajar bahasa Inggris mulai kelas berapa? Loh, ternyata kan sekarang kelas 10, itu dulu SD-nya kelas 1 sudah diajar bahasa Inggris. Lah kamu kok kalah dengan anak usia 4 tahun? Pada itu saya lihat ngomong, iya mana-mana. Anak Amerika, loh mesti Pak. Tapi kenapa kamu tahu kamu usia baru 4 tahun? Karena dia bisa ngomong itu kurang baru 2 tahun. Dia baru belajar 2 tahun kan? Kenapa kok bisa? Ya mesti saja Pak. Wong dia, nah artinya apa? Kita perlu membuat kebiasaan, habit, di mana caranya anak-anak itu sering berkomunikasi dengan temannya pakai bahasa Inggris. Itu satu-satunya untuk bisa meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris. Maka ketika kemarin juga Pak Kacap menyampaikan setelah video-video ini keluar, kami rapat sendiri dengan Pak Kacap. Pak Kacap juga ingin membuat kebijakan bahwa di cabang dinas nanti akan diberlakukan yang namanya English area atau area berbahasa Inggris. Nomor 1 ada di ruangannya Pak Kacap. Jadi nanti kalau hari Rabu hari Kamis, Bu, teman-teman yang tidak bisa tidak siap mau bahasa Inggris, jangan kita pindah dari Kamis. Hari Rabu Kamis. Dan langsung itu saya tidak lanjuti di tempat kami di SMK Negeri 1 Jetis. Hari Senin, Selasa pakai bahasa Indonesia, Rabu, Kamis bahasa Inggris, Jumat basa Jawa. Nah, jadi nanti kalau mau bilang apel Jumat, ya menyampaikan dalam bahasa Jawa. Kalau misalnya Rabu, Kamis harus pakai bahasa Inggris, walaupun hanya pada saat di awal pembicaraan itu kan bisa dipersiapkan. Nah, jadi karena begitu saya tadi juga lupa Pak. Saya masuk ke ruang guru pada apa? Good morning sir. Assalamualaikum. Good morning sir. Ya, saya jawab good morning. Nice to see you sir. Oh, nice to see you too. Saya bilang gitu. Oh, ternyata teman-teman tanggap. Alhamdulillah. Mudah-mudahan nanti menjadi kebiasaan. Jadi ini Bapak Ibu, sehingga kami berharap nanti beliau ini memperkenalkan gimana sih caranya meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris, mungkin dengan cara-cara yang berbeda yang selama ini kita lakukan, sehingga anak-anak bisa nanti setelah penjenengan rapat, tentu nanti akan diikuti penjenengan menyampaikan kepada siswa. Dan terus terang kemarin sudah disampaikan kepada kepala-kepala sekolah, ini sebetulnya bisa kalau nggak bisa tahun ini, tahun depan dianggarkan melalui BOS, ya, melalui dana BOS. Nah, nanti terkait dengan ini, nanti kalau penjenengan misalnya tertarik untuk kegiatan ini, masih penasaran, saya berharap juga dari ITC nanti ada kegiatan lanjutan gitu ya. Siapa tahu dengan kegiatan lanjutan, ya nanti kalau misalnya nggak gratis banget, ya kalau berbayar ya yang jangan mahal-mahal, supaya nanti betul-betul nanti begitu keren untuk tenaga kerja di Eropa, kemudian dimanapun dibuka, maka anak-anak kita sudah siap untuk itu yang pertama. Yang kedua, ternyata beasiswa di perguruan tinggi di luar negeri itu banyak sekali, tetapi tidak banyak yang bisa memanfaatkan, terutama guru-guru yang non bahasa Inggris, karena mereka tidak paham ini pengumuman opo, tulisan opo. Kadang-kadang di kementerian, penjenengan buka websitenya kementerian, itu sering ada beasiswa luar negeri, ya. Masa kalah dengan Kemenak itu Pak Zainuri ya, pernah dapat beasiswa ke Australia. setelah itu ya sudah sering. Ya. Maka dari itu Bapak Ibu sekalian aktif-aktiflah untuk membaca webnya, terutama di SMK. Di sana ada kok pengumuman tentang beasiswa dan sebagainya. Ya, kami sendiri kadang-kadang nggak tahu. Guru saya sudah ada yang dari Cina. Karena ya baca itu kemudian daftar, walaupun bahasa Inggris loh nggak bisa, nekat budal yang ngentil sampai sini so bahasa Inggris. Ya, kalau paling tidak kalau bisa bahasa Inggris dimanapun bisa hidup. Intinya begitu. Mau di Cina, di Korea, di Jepang, apalagi kalau di mereka-mereka ya berbahasa Inggris. Itu barangkali Bapak Ibu sekalian, mudah-mudahan pertemuan kita ini senantiasa dibarengi dengan hidayah dan ridho dari Allah SWT. Kemudian kita bisa mengambil manfaatnya yang sebesar-besarnya. Bapak terima kasih kami sampaikan pada tim dari ITC yang sudah ini tapi belum dikenalkan tadi ya. Ini Mr. Thomas ini aslinya dari Aussie, dari Australia. Tapi istrinya orang Klaten. Kemudian Mr. Kid ini dari Malaysia. Tetapi istrinya Banyuwangi. Kirain Semarang dulu. Kemudian Pak Adi ini asli Surabaya, ada Bu Adi Julia itu yang selalu bertiga ini trio. Jadi terima kasih sekali. Mudah-mudahan yang sampaikan ada manfaatnya. Kurang lebihnya mohon maaf. Akhiri, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Continue about your speech that in our school in NUC has applied by our kesiswaan, like Mr. Hermawan told the last week, when he wanted to all of the students to come to the yard. He said that running, don't use running. One more running, come on, running. Been applied by our school for the last week on Wednesday. Okay, thank you very much. And then for the sixth agenda is closing and praying. Please, Mr. Adi, take a place. Mr. Adi. Oh, Mr. Dian. I'm sorry.
Okay, how is everyone? Are you so excited? Do you need to stand up? Yes. Just relax a little bit. Okay. Go ahead.
Fotonya saya kirim di depan
MGMP. Relax, but
jalan terus.
move your body a little bit, and then we're going to move into our teacher training. Just don't worry because our teacher training is very interactive. It is not. It will be something that will make you think, oh yeah, I can use this in the classroom. Okay, so go ahead and go back and sit down and enjoy your snacks too. It's okay if you want to munch while listening to music. And here I have some vouchers. Yes, can I go prizes for two teachers that came here from the farthest place in Mojopahit. Farthest place from here. So, where would that be?
Awas. Ngorong.
Ibu, okay, go ahead, good. Come up, come to the front. I want to appreciate you.
From Mojanyar. From
Yeah, our pleasure. And people in the how many minutes did it take you? 45 minutes. Okay, let's clap for all of us. Because today we came here for the purpose of empowering ourselves, right? We are so dedicated. When we are dedicated like this, then we actually are being a blessing to our students at home, right? In our classrooms, right? So I really appreciate all of you for your efforts to being here. Okay, just really quickly, ACT EFEX. Maybe you're not familiar with our organization, but ACT is from America, and ACT is an education organization from America, organisasi pendidikan, and it started in 1959, jadi sudah lama, sejak 1929, Pak. And ACT has such a big heart for Southeast Asian countries, mempunyai hati yang besar untuk negara-negara Asia Tenggara, terutama especially for Indonesia. Why? Because
From Indonesia.
Indonesia, why? Because Indonesia needs to step up. Indonesia is a powerhouse for Southeast Asia. Indonesia itu negara yang super power untuk
Asia Tenggara.
Right? So our Indonesian students, our Indonesian next generation needs to know English. And because of that, ACT invested in Indonesia. Okay, so we invested by making a program just for Indonesian kids. If you read our books, Fitri is from Tangerang, Indonesia, and she loves Indonesia. She's proud of being Indonesian, but she wants to shine in the global stage. Jadi kita bisa cinta dengan negara kita, warisan budaya Indonesia, tetapi kita juga harus bersinar untuk di luar negeri, ya seperti Bapak tadi katakan, right? So it starts from all of us teachers, right? And so that's why we are here. Okay, with our program, we will accelerate very nicely. You can start at any basic A1, bisa start dari permulaan sekali. But with our programs and the way we teach, the way we conduct teacher training, the way we give the teachers guide, you as teachers, you will also increase very nicely, very rapidly, and also your students. Pak Lagi and we both have been talking. We want our students to be so good at TOEIC. If they are good at TOEIC, they can be accepted anywhere. There will be no problem for them to get a job. They can get a job overseas and be so good and come back and bless Indonesia with the knowledge and the experience. Indonesia needs all of us. Indonesia needs all of you teachers. If you use our curriculum and you see how it is, Mr. Thomas is going to show how we use our curriculum, and you will see, wow, actually it doesn't need to take too long to improve in English. It doesn't matter your students, well, sometimes you can get upset and go, I don't know this grammar, I don't know that vocabulary, the reading comprehension like Bapak Pengawas said. But if you use the method that we show you and you see in the books, then you will see this acceleration. Okay? So are we ready for Mr. David Thomas? Yeah? Let's do it.
Hey, good morning everyone.
Morning.
How are you all?
Good. I'm good.
Hey, let's follow the PowerPoint presentation. Everyone has to sing the national anthem again. Okay, here we are. Okay, I'm very, very, very pleased to be here. I only have a short time. I'm not sure what time we're going until, but I could speak for 3 days if you like. In Australia we say, or in Australia, we say they could speak underwater. And I could speak underwater. Okay, the first welcome and introduction. Then we're going to talk about the learning process, which comes into what you were talking about before. So we get to have an application of that, which will be very good. Integrated skills approach. And I apologize to the people over here if you cannot see the screen properly. Spaced repetition, which is a very effective strategy. Ms. Annie was talking about accelerating the learning, and that is one way to do that. Immersive teaching, and then review and Q&A. Okay, so welcome and introduction. My name is David. I come from Melbourne. The first time I came to Indonesia was 1991.
Oh, 1991.
And I was a lecturer at EFEX in Mojokerto from 1994 till 1998. And then I came back to Indonesia in 2007, and I've been here since then. Do you understand?
Yes.
Never ask your students, do you understand? Because they only have one answer. Yes. So this is how you do it. So what is my name?
David Thompson.
What is my first name?
David.
Where do I come from?
Melbourne.
What year did I first come to Indonesia? You can ask me quick. Yes, something? 1991, good. Okay, so I just, first of all, when I told you my story, I come from Melbourne, etc., I could see people nodding. When I said immersive theory, I can't read your name, I saw you say, yes, I know that theory, I know that strategy. So by looking at your faces, your eyes, your smile, I can tell if you are understanding. Secondly, when I asked you the question, where do I come from, everyone answered Melbourne. That's good. But sometimes you just want to hear from one person or two people, so that can be different. But all of that is better than, do you understand? Yes. Now, quick, you have a question?
Yeah, tell us about your hobby.
My hobby? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Not only one hobby, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually two. Cycling up the mountain and cycling down the mountain. Okay, for another time, maybe at lunchtime we can talk about hobbies. Okay. This will be very quick. We're going to look at the learning process. And to do that, I'm actually not going to use the microphone. Okay, so I need some volunteers. Do you know the word volunteer?
Yeah.
There's a, ini bukan bahasa yang pakai dan yang baik ya. You can volunteer somebody.
Like you.
And the other one's called voluntold, when you say, you will volunteer, won't you? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 volunteers.
6 volunteers. Stand up.
Okay, now there.
Volunteer. Volunteer service.
Okay, thank you, volunteers. Not really volunteers, are they? Okay, we're going to learn one skill. And these fine gentlemen here are going to practice the skill. And you teachers are going to look at the learning process. Okay? Saya tadi sekali, look at sekali. Saya pakai proses, bukan proses. Proses. Orang sering tanya, kok bedanya bahasa Inggris Amerika, bahasa Inggris atau Australia, bedanya apa? Actually, the differences are very small. Process, Sama saja. Okay. So you can understand. So I'd like you, if you receive one of these boards, and then you can give those out, I'd like you to write down I think I've got 6 steps in the process. So write down the 6 steps that you can identify in the process. So there you are, Ms. Linda.
First.
You can be one of the reporters. There you are. Okay. So Eddie, you can write the process.
Apa kuning kayak gini? Apa kita pakai gini?
Here's the
Okay, one here. Here you are. And for you. And you can pass one over to Ibu Tatin. Okay. Now, just before we do that process, we have the 2-1-1 policy in this classroom. 2-1-1. You have 2 ears.
Yes.
1 mouth.
1 mouth.
And 1 phone. Someone have 2 phones. So please keep your ears open. Keep your mouth on standby for talking or for eating. And please close your phone. We do have 1 or 2 people who will be taking photos, and they can put the photos into your groups. We talked about, before we talked about acquisition and creating an environment. If you have your phone there, it closes off your communication, the input. Okay, so please don't use your phones during this time. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to teach you. Where have I put the box? I'm going to teach you to juggle. Okay? So, can any of you juggle? Juggling. No. Okay. So, we're going to learn to juggle, and this is what these men are going to do. They're going to be able to do this. Okay? Okay. So, did you see that? You know what to do? Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Now, if this is the English class and I just say, okay, I'm going to read you a story, now answer the comprehension questions. Juggle. Go. Okay. Why? Because there was no process. Okay. Please take 1 ball only.
1,
2, 3,
4,
5, 6.
No one said
This is process.
Okay. Just later we will talk about immersion. When I'm going along here and I say 1, 2, I'm getting everyone to join in. That's immersive. That's acquisition, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't say let's count. Just straight into using language. Okay, where am I? Yeah. Okay. So, gentlemen, make some space for yourself.
Make space.
Wherever you need to be. Okay. You can come around there if you like. Okay. First of all, just watch me first. So don't. Actually, with children, I would give them the ball after I show them. Otherwise, there'll be boys going like this. Okay, ready? This hand still. Up, land. Up, land. Up, land. See? Working nggak sadar, sabar ya. Up, land. Okay, have a go.
Okay, come on. Up.
Up, land. Up, land. Where? Okay. The successful method is if this hand does not move too much. If you have to go like that, it's not going to work. So try and get it so you don't have to move it. Okay, you go. Okay, good. Actually, there's a few more steps, but we're doing this very quickly. The next one is over and on. Sorry, under and on. Under, on. Under, on. Follow.
Under, on.
Under, on. Under, on. Okay, one more ball. One.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Very good students. Now, there's actually a couple of other steps, but we really don't have time. Watch first.
What's this?
This one will go up. When it comes down, this one will go up. And you do it once, like this. Up, up, down, down.
Up,
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 down,
up, down.
up, catch, catch. Up, catch, catch. Up, catch, catch. Up,
Catch, catch,
You can
catch,
start
catch,
at the
catch.
end. Up, catch, catch. Up, catch, catch. Now, hopefully, because I'm facing them, they'll see that this ball goes over and this one goes under. It can be the other way, but they'll start to pay attention to the actual method. Okay? Okay, off you go. Have a try. Up, up, up.
Up, catch, catch.
Up, up.
Up.
Okay. So the reason for the language is not just so I can say this is an English activity, but it helps you if you listen to yourself. So not up, pass, catch. Up, catch. Your head has to go up.
Catch.
Go. Up. This one goes up. This one goes up. Not pass. Up. Okay. Up.
Padahal telung tambah.
You need to move on. Is anybody confident to try 3 balls? Not yet? Okay.
Tambah kayak 10 refer.
To be continued.
To be continue.
Very good. Thank you. Very good. Okay, you may sit down. Okay. Now the process. Teaching to juggle does, or learning to juggle does take a little bit longer. Do I need this or not? Yeah. Do I need the microphone? No? No? Okay. It does take a little bit longer and there's a few extra steps in learning to juggle. But can I just hear from the observers? What were the processes, the learning process? What was the first step?
Can we step by step?
Okay, step by step. So what was the first step?
Preparation.
Preparation from me? From the letters.
For the
Both of them.
Yes, preparation. What did you have? What was the first step? Yes, well done. Okay. Okay, the goal. So I modeled the goal, juggling 3 balls. So I stated it to them, and then I modeled it so they knew what they had to do. Okay? And you'll see in these books, for example, writing. If they have to write an email or a short essay or a letter or an advertisement, there's a model in here first. So the students know what the goal is. What was the next step? Anybody?
Listening the instruction.
Listening to the instructions, yes. And then?
Practice.
Following the instructions. Okay. And yes, practice, very good. There's plenty of time to practice. So I actually allowed the students to try it at their own speed, their own pace. So there are a couple of students here got the idea quite quickly. A couple over there took a bit longer to get the idea. And so you need to give students time to practice at their own speed. Okay, So the foundation was starting with one ball. Most people who try to juggle start with 3 balls. A lot of people who try to learn English start with something that's too difficult, like you were saying, the +1 idea. It can be very, very simple, and then we added, here's the +1, we added 1 ball and we added an action. We added a slight difficulty. Okay? So I am a teacher. I am an English teacher. I am an old English teacher. I am a very old English teacher. So just adding one thing at each time is helpful. Students won't get completely lost. And then we had a second ball after that. So we didn't just start with 2 balls and try to do that. We solidified the landing hand first. Okay? So what do students need to know before they read? Vocabulary is probably number 1. And so in our books here, we always have some vocabulary before the reading, and the teacher guide tells the teacher to unpack the vocabulary in the story before they move on to the comprehension. Because vocabulary is key. If you're not sure of the grammar, you can still understand from reading. Grammar becomes more of a problem when you're writing or speaking. Okay, and so the goal attempt was the 3rd ball, and then assessment, we didn't get there. But maybe we can have a juggling class next time. The Mojokerto English juggling teachers. Okay, so if this was reading, the goal is to read fluently. Sebenarnya itu agak general ya. The goal is to read fluently. Well, what does that mean? That could be reading aloud. It could be reading aloud with the right register, like a news reader. It could be comprehension, silent reading, but with comprehension. So you need to make it clear. Foundation, word pronunciation. Phrases, intonation, known and unknown words and phrases in the reading passage. And then being able to read to the class or read in a small group, that would be the assessment. In our books we have a lot of assessment that is formative. And the teachers can choose whether they give a score or not, or record the score or not. But there are plenty of opportunities for students to prove to themselves whether they know the information or not. Okay, so that's all for the learning process. We could take a question now. If anyone has a question about the learning process? Phone a friend? Okay, we will move on. Okay, an integrated skills approach. So this workshop is just like a taste of the workshops that we conduct from EFEX. Each of these things actually has more steps to it. So we're just giving you a little idea, and hopefully in the future we can unpack some of these and really dig into these skills. And in our workshops, we don't just, I agree with this very a lot, we don't just do the theory, but we also have opportunity to apply, to practice, and to refine our skills. Okay, so getting to know the team. So integrated skills, this is the idea that we are going to look at a reading, at a story, but we're going to integrate other skills, not just simply reading comprehension, 10 questions, what is your score? Okay, we're going to look at build up other skills along the way. So first of all, pre-reading. Well, what is pre-reading? Can anyone tell me? Yes? No? Before you read, okay? So what might have to happen before you really read the sentences? Okay, here's a clue. For this one here, can you see the title? Can you see the picture? Yes. How many people? 6. Are they all the same age? 7. Okay. Are they all the same age? Do you think maybe one is younger or older? One is taller. Yes. It's a bit small, sorry. Okay. All of the letters getting to know you, they're all capital letters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's the title. Very good. Okay. So that's pre-reading. That's pre-reading. Look at the title, the pictures. Do you think this is an email? No. Okay. So you can go through that with your students. Do you think this is a story? Yes. Is it an essay maybe? Could be. Why? Paragraphs. Okay. That's pre-reading. Don't just read, but look at the format, look at the setting, look at the pictures, look at the color of the font even. Okay. Now, with this reading comes some personal ID cards for the different characters. And so the aim of the reading is that the students will be finding out about the different characters. Okay, so title and subtitles, fonts and colors, format, genre, and then get them to skim through quickly. What can you see? I'm not going to ask you to do that now. But what can you see when you quickly, 30 seconds to look at everything? I can see lots of different people's names. I can see lots of places. I can see birthdays. There's May 7 and there's September 9 and there's December 3. Okay, so that gives you some idea. What do you think this is about? I think it's a story about people telling about themselves. Okay, now let's read. So everything before was pre-reading. And your students will walk out of class not saying, I cannot read.
Yeah.
If you ask the student what is the story about, tanpa baca mereka sudah tahu. Oh, tentang orang-orang, tentang 7 orang, dan sebagainya. Okay, they know the general idea of the reading. Okay, let's go. Okay, I'm not sure if you people can see, but so I'll concentrate on these guys. Okay, we're going to read this together, my lovely students. Why didn't you wear pink today? They're all wearing pink. You're out of uniform. Why didn't you wear pink today? Okay, listen. This morning, Emma's team gathers for breakfast at the dining hall. Everybody. This
Morning, Emma's team gather for breakfast at dining hall.
Very good. Okay. They are working on their first class for the World Learners Challenge. Why does World Learners Challenge have capital W, capital L, capital C? Anybody? Anyone? What does that mean? That it's got capital letters.
Tantangan
Event. An event. Okay. It's something important, isn't it? Something official. An event. Very good. And they need to produce a character profile of each team member. What do you think this story is going to be about? I'll give you a clue. They need to produce a character profile of each team member. What is the story going to be about? Identity. of those 7 people in the picture? Probably. Very good. Okay. Excellent. Because if it's not those 7 people, why is the picture there? Okay. So we've looked at pronunciation. I got my students to pronounce, and I could have. Where's the difficult word? Some students will say character instead of character. So you might stop there and just get them to say, everybody, character.
Character.
Okay. So punctuation, pronunciation, and prediction. Already. It's not just reading comprehension, is it? There's a whole lot of skills integrated there. Okay, next one. Topical words. We know that this reading is about identity. Thank you, Lydia. So, can you find any words there that talk about identity? Choose a word, find a word. Or name? Okay. If when you want to say something, if you can just raise your hand so I'm looking, where's the voice? No. What was that? Names. Okay, names are connected to identities, yes? Hobbies are there as well, yes. You'd be very happy that the hobbies are there. Yes.
Nationality.
Nationalities are there too. Okay, very good. Okay, let's all read this together just for fun. 1, 2, 3.
Oliver is a boy from Liverpool in England. Yesterday works on him by Sophia.
And cut. Okay, very good. When the teacher reads and then the students read, they get the intonation, the rhythm and everything, the pronunciation from the teacher. When everyone's reading together, it's... I usually do that kind of reading in pairs or maybe threes, so that together they can just train their ears just to listen to each other. Don't just press that. Even though everybody's talking, but you're just focusing on your 2 friends or 1 friend, and that can be helpful. If you do have some stronger students, pair them with a weaker student in those situations. Okay, so topical words. SVA, what's SVA? Subject? Verb agreement, very good. So, Oliver is a boy. Oliver is a boy. You might just, during the reading, or after the reading, you come back to this, and you just say, what if it was Oliver and Tom? What is the sentence? Someone from the front row. Not Oliver is a boy, but Oliver and Tom are boys. Okay. And what if it was Jenny and Julie? Jenny and Julie are girls. Okay, very good. So you can use this reading to recap subject-verb agreement, for example. Last week you did a small session on past tense. So in the reading on the next topic, you just stop and you say, what if Oliver is a boy from Liverpool? How do I say that in the past tense? Was. Oliver was a boy from Liverpool. Now he's a giraffe in China. I don't know. Okay, so topical words, subject-verb agreement is an example of a grammatical point that we can just pick up in our reading. The reading is not focused on grammar, but it brings grammar back into the classroom, almost in an acquisition style. And personalized, you could actually say, May is a girl from Chengdu. Laili is a lady from Mojokerto. Okay. So then I could say Oliver is a boy from Liverpool, Nia is a lady from Mojokerto. Okay, and then the students could repeat the model. So we've now turned a reading into a speaking with an awareness of grammar, personalized. So now we can go to, I'm a man from Melbourne. I'm a lady from Mojokerto. Okay, very good. So then personalization from a story means that the students can own those sentences. It's no longer just Oliver is a boy from Liverpool, but I am a boy from Mojokerto. I am a girl from
Trawulan.
2009, I went to Trawulan because a friend wanted to sell their Garuda, mobile Garuda. Do you know that one? It's like a minibus. And I went there and I was going to buy this Garuda. It's like an antique 1950 motor vehicle. Do you know the Garuda? No, I'll look it up. It's really good. Except the front cabin is separate from the passengers. And I started the engine and it was so noisy. I said, no, I'm not buying this. So that's why I went to Trawulan. Okay. Intonation, tone, and minimal pairs. What's a minimal pair? Minimal pairs. Do you know that one? Minimal pair? Like sheep and ship. Sheep and ship. Okay. Like yeah, sheep and ship a little bit. Okay. These three must come from the teacher, because if the students just practice sheep and ship, they might say sheep, 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 sheep. They need the model from the teacher. And the same with tone and intonation. Okay. Last one was personalization. We've already covered that. And response. Okay. Response is the comprehension. Now, when you look at reading comprehension, discuss the questions so at least the students understand the questions being asked and they're not just guessing. I recently learned that in SMK you have multiple choice. Yes? How many options do you have? Five. Four. Okay. I think 4 is plenty. 4 is more than enough. 5 is just becoming a guess. Because if you have 5, surely 2 of them are going to be very similar. 4 is enough to choose from. Because why do we do multiple choice? So that our students become decision makers. Not so they can ngoblos and dia tahu. We want them to become decision makers in everyday life, in their work, in their spending. So that's why we have multiple choice actually. So 5 choices I find very difficult as an educator. 4 is enough. Okay. So when we read, we have all these different ways of reading, but that's for another workshop, another time. Okay? Okay, as we go into time, by the way. Just this one. I might skip the other one. Okay, I'll see. If I speak twice as fast, is that better? Okay. Spaced repetition. Okay. Spaced repetition. The idea is your students learn some vocabulary. Then they do a short reading. and then they learn some grammar, but the sentences in the grammar exercise actually are on the same topic as the reading. Some of the sentences come from the reading. And so when the students are doing the grammar activity, they don't have to think, what does this sentence mean? What does this word mean? Because they've already covered it in the vocab and the reading. And then they listen to an audio track. And the audio track has grammatical structures from the grammar. You can see what's happening here. So what happens when they write? A lot of the vocabulary comes from the listening, it was somewhere in the grammar, it was in the reading, and it was in the vocab. Sure, there are other words as well, but a lot of it can come from there. So that's basically spaced repetition. So if we look at these books here, you'll see every unit has 42 sections. And the 42 sections are broken up like this. There's always an introductory reading to give the teacher some sort of pre-reading, pre-unit opportunity to discuss the topic with the students. Next, there's an activity, that's the discussion. And then we have a vocab bank, a vocab exercise, and then talking about the vocabulary. Then we'll have a reading passage, a comprehension exercise, and talking about the reading passage. Maybe talking about the topic. Okay? So it becomes something where spaced repetition is always there. They're always revisiting the vocabulary and the other skills. Okay. Any questions about spaced repetition? No? If your stomach is telling you to have a snack, please have a snack. Okay, we will move on. So, this helps us to introduce the context, familiarise the students with the material, repeating a new context. Remember, we did the juggling, up and over, and then afterwards, then we introduced the second ball. It's that kind of thing, introducing a new context. And finally, being able to use the language, maybe in writing, maybe in speaking, use it creatively. Okay, so there's an example of some of the pages from the books where, trust me, the vocab is connected to the reading is connected to the listening. It's all very, very tight. But there is a lot of vocabulary in there. A lot of it is not in the vocabulary bank, and so the students need to help the teachers need to help the students to get that extra vocabulary, to understand it, and then it'll come up in the other sections. Okay. Now we come to immersive teaching. We're on the home stretch. Okay. Do you know what immersive language learning is? I'm sure our professor here knows. Immersive teaching, anybody? Or immersive learning? Okay? Yes. So immersive teaching or immersive learning is when the students are exposed to the language, the target language. Okay. You've told me that you have English days, 2 days a week. That's fantastic. I hope that you do it immersively, which would mean it includes, hello, good morning, how are you? Can I go to the bathroom? Yes, you may, no, you may not. It includes all that, but it needs to also include English songs. You might play one song, and Indonesians are fantastic about this. When I was living in Mojokerto, all of my students at IKIP, it seemed, all the boys, could play Hotel California on guitar. 1995, I think that was, and the radio station was always playing Hotel California. But they could pronounce the words and they could say the words, and I could say, hello, how are you? And my friend would say, living it up in Hotel California. But he didn't know really any of those words. So your immersive days in English need to have something to read, something on the walls, posters, writing from students, something they can listen to, songs that they can learn to play on guitar, the latest slow music, nothing too quick, so they can actually catch the lyrics. And something, some purpose, something for them to do. Maybe they're going to sell some snacks and they're going to sell it, promote it in English, so they're going to write some posters. So you need to create a lot of purpose in your English day, otherwise it just becomes, hello, how are you? Okay? Now, immersion has a problem. There are teachers who say, I speak English in class all the time, but my students do not understand.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got that? Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't listen to this professor here. +1. Okay. So, hello. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm fantastic. How are you? Good. Okay. Fantastic. Hello. How are you today? Very well. Good. Okay. Fantastic. Very well. Now, if she doesn't know what to say, she's already received 4 models, and she'll just say very well because her friend said very well. Cukup ya?
Yeah.
So, immersion also requires the teacher to scaffold or support the immersion. Not just, hello, how are you? Everyone says fine. And all they learn is fine. Okay. How are you travelling? How are you travelling? Hi, how are you travelling? Okay. See, immersion has a problem. How are you travelling is kind of slang language in Australia for older men, usually, who would ask you, how are you going? Okay. Now don't, if you meet a tourist who's from America and they're 23 years old, don't say, how are you travelling? My point is, immersion has to be thoughtful. Don't just, oh, saya lancar bahasa Inggris, saya akan, I will rain down my English on my students. No. You need to be thoughtful about it and get your students to participate in that. Second point, if you speak in English, so you reply in English. Okay? So, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
No, you reply in Indonesian. You reply in Indonesian. Okay, how are you? How are you? How are you?
Gimana kabarmu?
Baik.
Baik.
Oh, you're good. Okay. Where did you come from this morning? Oh. Oh, from Soko.
From Soko.
From your house in Soko? Okay. So, sorry. Salah paham. So,
Misunderstand.
even though she's replied in Indonesian, I understood and showed her I understood, and I continued in simple English. I did not say, hey, speak English. But, and lama-lama, what's that in English? Eventually, lama-lama is so much nicer than eventually. eventually she will pick up some of those English phrases from her friends and she will merge into the immersion idea. Do you know what the word immerse means? Immerse? To dive in, to drop into something. Yes. Like the gourami fish in the frying pan. Okay. Whoops. Yes. Okay, we're nearly at the end, ladies and gentlemen. You must be very hungry.
Wow, so do I.
Okay. Who can tell me something about the learning process? What have you learned today? Something about the learning process that's important. Anybody? What if I said I have a prize for you? One prize for one great answer. Something you learned from the learning process. Remember the juggling? There are 3 balls up there to remind you. The goal. Okay, yes, the first is the goal. Well done. Congratulations. Okay, the first is the goal. And allowing the students to have time to practice and taking them one step at a time. So in sentences, to decide, am I teaching this for the vocabulary or am I teaching this for the grammar? If I'm teaching it for the vocabulary, the grammar should be something that is known. So let's stick with present simple tense. If the aim is the grammar, use vocabulary that they already know. So not how you're travelling, because they have not learned it yet. Okay. Sorry for putting you in a difficult situation. That was the point, yeah? That was the purpose. Okay, an integrated skills approach. Remember, that was about what? What's my cue up there? About reading. Okay, reading. So, what's an integrated approach? Maybe our YouTuber can tell us.
Titles? Titles?
Yeah,
And subtitle? Yeah.
Okay, that was the pre-reading. That was the pre-reading. The whole integrated process is having pre-reading and vocabulary and grammar and things like that.
If there is second, we can get that.
Oh yeah, prizes, I forgot. There are prizes. Okay, and spaced repetition. Who can tell me what is spaced repetition about?
Pronunciation.
I need to see a hand, otherwise it's a pink lady talking.
Pronunciation.
Sorry?
Pronunciation.
Pronunciation?
We can teach English in one line, maybe. Pronunciation, and then pronunciation, punctuation, intonation, something like that. So prediction.
Okay, I think you've been KO'd. I think she wins. Okay, congratulations. Maybe you can share. She'll buy you an ice cream. Okay, and finally, what is immersive teaching? Immersive teaching. One topic, you know. Yes.
Learn everything by more typing.
Okay, can you give me an example?
Example.
Banyak bicara di sini yang So, what was that about?
Like say something with another vocabulary with the same meaning.
Okay, yes, I know. You're the standby winner. We'll see if there's one better answer. And my question is, what are 2 things that you could add to your English day that I said? 2 things that you could add to your English day. At the back, yes? Dialogue, yes, and
playing, using tools. Dialogue and using tools in learning.
using tools.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like ball, like guitar.
Okay, like songs.
Like song.
Okay, you win the prize. Well done. Okay, so as I said before, this workshop is just a taste of these different things. Each of these topics has more elements, more strategies, and in our workshops you get to practice those strategies, not just examples of them. Okay, but I hope there's something here that you've been able to take, and you can take it into your classroom. Even if it's as small as making sure your students don't say fine, 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 but they say fine, okay, fantastic, not bad. Very well, thank you. Okay. Now, this is just to show you the range of the curriculum, the books that we have from ACT. And if you know the CEFR, Common European Framework Reference for Languages, they are levelled at CFR A1 to A2 right up to B2. And so the books can be levelled to the classroom. So in some schools the students might start at this level, others might start at that level, so that it is suitable and it can accelerate them faster. And all of those books come with a teacher guide to help the teachers as well. Okay, next please. Okay, if you'd like to follow us on Instagram or Facebook, EFEX Training, please like and follow and all those things, and you might see some extra tips there as well. Okay, I think that's all from me, so thank you for listening.